Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're basically going to take you on a tour of the school of the future. We'll step right inside the classroom, we'll explore the whole campus, and we'll see the exact technologies that are completely reinventing how we all learn.
So what actually makes a school smart? I mean, you hear that term a lot. And look, it's way more than just slapping a fancy screen on the wall. It's about a fully integrated ecosystem. And our first stop on this tour, well, it's the heart of it all, the classroom.
Right, so this is it, the digital heartbeat of the school. It's the absolute core of the learning experience, where teachers and students can connect with ideas and with each other in ways that just weren't possible before. Okay, what's so interesting here is how a simple piece of tech can totally change the dynamic in the room. I mean, think about the old way. The teacher's back is to the class while they're writing on the board. You lose that connection, right? But with the new way, they're always facing the students, always connected. Engagement stays high the entire time.
So this interactive podium, it's basically the teacher's command center. It's got a big touch screen that mirrors the main display so they can write, draw, and control everything without ever turning their back. And get this, it's got motorized height adjustment. So it doesn't matter if you're 4'9" or over 6'5", it adjusts to you. Pretty cool, huh?
All right, so you've got this awesome digital setup, but what if you want to show something physical, like a diagram in a textbook or maybe a 3D model? How do you get the whole class to see it? Well, that's where this comes in. It's a ceiling-mounted 4K camera, a visualizer. It literally just points down at the teacher's desk and projects whatever's there onto the big screen. Super high detail, it's a brilliant way to bring physical objects into a digital lesson.
Okay, let's move on. Our next stop deals with something that, honestly, is so often overlooked, but it's absolutely critical for learning. And that's sound. Because let's be real, if students can't hear what's being said, they can't learn. Simple as that.
And this quote really hits the nail on the head. You know, teachers think they have to rely on their lung power, just projecting their voice all day long. But that's exhausting, and you just know the kids in the back row are missing half of it. When you amplify the teacher's voice, though, boom, comprehension goes way up for everyone in the room.
So, a full audio system like this is the answer. First, you get crystal clear capture with wireless mics for the teacher. Then, that sound goes through a mixer that cleans it up and boosts it. And finally, it's sent out through speakers placed strategically around the room. The result? The kid in the very back row hears just as clearly as the one in the front. It's a win-win.
And what about the students? Well, that's where these little gooseneck mics on the desks come in. They are a total game changer. Think about it. No more awkwardly passing a single handheld mic around the room. Anyone can just lean in and ask a question. It completely changes the dynamic from students just passively listening to them actively participating in a real conversation.
All right, we spent a lot of time in the classroom, so now let's kind of zoom out. We're going to expand our tour beyond those four walls and look at the tech that connects the entire school community. We're talking everything from the front lobby all the way to the main auditorium. You see, a truly smart campus is all about using the right tool for the right space. It's not one size fits all. So yeah, you'll have these huge, dynamic LED displays in the lobby for announcements. Then you'll have premium conference systems in the boardroom for those important meetings. And of course, for the big all-school assemblies in the auditorium, you need some serious projection power.
And when we say serious firepower for an auditorium, we mean it. How do you get an image that's big enough and bright enough for a huge room? Well, you use a really cool technique called edge blending. You basically take two super powerful laser projectors and combine their images to create one massive, totally seamless picture. We're talking 27,000 lumens of brightness. The result is an image so clear and bright that literally everyone has a perfect view.
Okay, now for what might be the biggest game changer of all. Just think about this for a second. What if no lecture was ever lost? What if every single class could be saved forever? This next stop on our tour is all about that. Creating a permanent digital library of a school's greatest asset, its teaching.
And this isn't science fiction. A lot of top universities are already doing this. They're outfitting classrooms with complete recording systems to capture every single session. I mean, can you imagine being able to rewatch a really tough lecture right before a final exam? Or being able to search a whole semester of classes for the exact minute a key concept was explained? That is the power we're talking about here.
But you don't want these recordings to look like a boring static security camera feed, right? Of course not. So how do you make them look polished and professional? The secret is a technique from live television called a broadcast cut. It lets an operator instantly switch between different camera angles that are all preset.
You can cut from a wide shot of the room to a close-up on the teacher to a shot of a student asking a question, all without any of that jerky camera movement. It makes it feel like you're watching a professionally produced show.
So the whole process is pretty slick. You capture all these different angles at once. A video switcher then mixes those camera feeds with the presentation slides and all the audio, all in real time. And that final program, it gets recorded to a hard drive and can even be live streamed at the same time for anyone learning remotely. It takes a regular lecture and turns it into a high-quality video production.
So, as we wrap up our tour, we get to the most important idea of all. A smart school, it isn't really about a bunch of cool, isolated gadgets. It's not about the podium or the camera. It's about how every single piece of technology connects and works together to create something much, much bigger.
When you think about it, everything we've seen today, the podium, the mics, the cameras, the big projectors, every single one is just a part of one big, intelligent ecosystem. They're all talking to each other, and they all work together, not just for the sake of having cool tech, but to build a learning environment that's richer, more effective, and way more accessible for every single student.
It's pretty incredible when you step back and think about how these tools are shaping the future of education. I mean, the ability to relive any lecture you want, to hear every single word perfectly, to engage so much more directly, it's really creating a world of learning that feels like it has no limits. So it makes you think, right? Look back at your own school days. What's the one piece of technology we talked about today that would have just completely transformed your experience? And maybe more importantly, what does your answer tell us about what the classroom of tomorrow is really going to look like?